I'm 42. Married for 11 years. One kid. A mortgage that feels heavier now than it ever did. I'm writing this from a burner account because I still can't say this out loud without my chest tightening. Until a year ago, my life felt fine. Not perfect. Not movie happy. Just normal. Work during the day, dinner with my wife, tuck our son in, then a couple hours online gaming to decompress. That was my routine. That was my thing. My wife used to joke that my headset was my second wife. I laughed. I thought it was harmless. She'd sit on the couch scrolling on her phone while I played with the same group of guys every night. Same voices. Same jokes. Same dumb arguments about strategies. It was comfortable. One of those guys, let's call him Mark, was my closest online friend. We played together almost every night for 3 years. We talked about work stress, kids, marriage annoyances. He knew my wife's name. Knew what she did for work. Knew when we argued. I trusted him in that weird modern way where you've never met someone, but they feel real. Looking back, life felt stable in that fragile way where you don't realize you're standing on rotten floorboards. Nothing dramatic had happened yet. No screaming fights. No obvious distance. Just small things I brushed off because I didn't want to be paranoid. I really believed we were solid. I believed my marriage was boring in the good way. I was wrong. My wife and I met in our late 20s. We grew up together in adulthood, jobs, mistakes, learning how to be people. We weren't passionate anymore, but we were partners. Or at least I thought we were. Gaming was my escape. I never hid it. My account was always logged in on the console in the living room. Sometimes she'd sit next to me, listening to the guys talk, laughing at inside jokes she didn't fully understand. She knew everyone's usernames. She knew Mark's voice. At some point, she started asking more questions about him. Where he lived. What he did. Whether he was married. It didn't ring alarm bells. I thought she was just being curious. She'd say things like, "He's funny," or, "He sounds nice." Then she started using my console more when I wasn't home. Watching Netflix. Playing single-player games. Normal stuff. I didn't care. We shared everything. The first real red flag came quietly. She asked me one night how to message someone directly through the platform. I showed her. She said it was for a friend from work who also gamed. I didn't question it. Mark started being different with me. Slightly distant. Less joking. He'd log off early sometimes. When I asked, he said he was tired. Work stress. Same excuses I used. I remember feeling a weird tension I couldn't explain. Like something was off, but I didn't know what shape it was. So I ignored it. I always ignored things that made me uncomfortable. That's on me. Things shifted slowly enough that I convinced myself I was imagining them. My wife started staying up later. She'd wait until I logged off, then say she wasn't tired yet. I'd go to bed alone more often. She guarded her phone more. Nothing dramatic, just little movements. Tilting the screen away. Taking it to the bathroom. Locking it when she never used to. Every article says not to jump to conclusions, so I didn't. Mark stopped talking about his own life with me. If I asked how things were going, he'd deflect. Joke. Change the subject. But he'd still ask about mine. About my marriage. About whether my wife was happy. I told him we were fine. I believed it when I said it. One night, I came downstairs because I forgot my charger. My wife was on the couch, headset on, laughing quietly. When she saw me, she jumped like she'd been caught stealing. She said she was just watching a stream. I didn't press her. I trusted her. That's what you're supposed to do, right? But that night, lying in bed, I felt something ugly crawl into my chest. Suspicion mixed with shame for even thinking it. I told myself I was being insecure. That marriages go through boring phases. That I needed to be better. I started trying harder. More date nights. More compliments. More help around the house. She accepted it all, a little distracted, a little distant. And Mark? He stopped playing with me altogether. The turning point wasn't dramatic. No caught in the act moment. Just a stupid accident. I came home early one afternoon because my meeting got cancelled. The house was quiet. Too quiet. My wife's car was in the driveway. I heard voices from the living room, low, intimate. I stepped closer and realized it was Mark's voice coming from my headset. She was sitting exactly where I usually sat. I froze. She didn't see me at first. She was smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. Soft. Open. Real. Then she said my name. Not my name. His. Quietly. Like it meant something. When she noticed me, her face strained of color. She ripped the headset off like it burned her. I didn't yell. I didn't even speak at first. I just stared, trying to make my brain catch up. She said, "It's not what you think." I laughed. Actually laughed. Because it was exactly what I thought. I asked how long. She said, "It didn't mean anything." I asked again. She started crying. Then my console chimed. A message notification. From Mark. I didn't know he was home. That sentence still echoes in my head. I picked up the headset and put it on. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to hear him deny it. Maybe I wanted proof I was insane. "Tell me," I said. Silence. Then he spoke. His voice sounded smaller than it ever had before. "I'm sorry, man." That was it. No explanation. No defense. Just that. My wife was sobbing. Saying she felt lonely. Saying it started as talking. Saying nothing physical had happened. I don't know if that last part was true. It doesn't really matter. I asked her how they met. She said, "Through your account." That part broke something in me. The idea that my safe place, my escape, had been the doorway. I asked Mark if he knew she was my wife. He said yes. Said he didn't plan for it to happen. Said feelings just grew. I took the headset off and threw it across the room. It shattered against the wall. My hands were shaking so badly I had to sit down. I felt humiliated. Betrayed. Stupid. Like the punchline of a joke I didn't know I was in. Neither of them could look at me. I slept on the couch that night. I don't think I slept at all. The days after were chaos. I couldn't eat. Couldn't focus at work. Every memory felt poisoned. My wife followed me around the house crying, apologizing, explaining. Saying she loved me. Saying she never meant to hurt me. Saying she'd cut him off. I asked to see the messages. She hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. When I finally read them, I felt physically sick. Inside jokes. Emotional intimacy. Complaints about me. Compliments about each other. Plans to, one day, meet. He told her he wished he'd met her first. She told him she felt seen. I closed the chat and handed the phone back. I didn't scream. I didn't break anything else. I just felt hollow. Mark sent me a long message later. Apologizing. Saying he'd leave her alone. Asking me not to hate him. I blocked him without responding. That hurt almost as much as everything else. Losing a friend and a wife in the same breath. I kept wondering how long I'd been sharing my life with ghosts. The confrontation phase lasted weeks. Circular conversations. Same questions. Different answers. None of them satisfying. Why him? Why through me? Why didn't you talk to me? She said she didn't know how. Said she felt invisible. Said it wasn't about me, but everything felt like it was about me. She wanted counseling. I agreed, mostly out of numbness. Our son noticed the tension. Asked why Mommy cried so much. I hated myself for that. At night I replayed everything. Every joke Mark ever made. Every time my wife smiled at her phone, I felt stupid for trusting either of them. Sometimes I'd feel rage. Other times, grief. Sometimes I'd miss her even though she was in the same house. Trust doesn't shatter loudly. It erodes quietly. Like water on stone. I started questioning my own memories. Was I ever enough? Was I blind? Or was this always going to happen? There were no clean answers. Just exhaustion. Counseling didn't fix anything. It just gave names to the pain. Betrayal trauma. Emotional infidelity. Broken attachment. The therapist asked if I could imagine forgiving her. I didn't know how to answer. Forgiveness felt like erasing myself. My wife tried. She really did. Transparency. Reassurance. No more gaming. No more social media. She offered everything. But I couldn't unsee the messages. Couldn't unhear his voice in my house. Sometimes I'd look at her and feel love. Other times, I'd feel nothing. That scared me more than the anger. I started having panic attacks. Randomly. At work. In the shower. My chest would tighten and my hands would go numb. I never told anyone why. I didn't want pity. Or advice. Or judgment. I just wanted my old life back. And I knew that was impossible. The consequences crept in slowly. Friends noticed we stopped hosting dinners. My performance at work slipped. I stopped gaming entirely. Sold the console. My wife lost weight. I lost sleep. We lived like polite roommates pretending something wasn't broken beyond repair. Our son adjusted in his own quiet way. Became more withdrawn. That guilt still eats at me. I realized one day that even if she never cheated again, I would always wonder. Every notification. Every smile. Every late night. That's not a life. For either of us. So I asked for a separation. She cried like the world was ending. Maybe it was. Moving out was surreal. Packing boxes while she watched silently. Choosing what memories to take and which to leave behind. We told our son together. Said Mommy and Daddy needed space. He nodded like he understood. I don't think he did. Living alone at 42 wasn't what I imagined. The quiet was brutal. No laughter. No routine. Just thoughts. I missed her. I hated her. Sometimes in the same hour. Mark tried to contact me again months later through a new account. I deleted it without reading. Some doors don't deserve reopening. Time didn't fix anything the way people promise it will. It just dulled the edges enough that I could function. That's the lie people don't tell you. Time doesn't heal, it anesthetizes. My wife and I stayed in this strange limbo. Technically separated, emotionally tangled. We talked almost every day because of our son, but sometimes the conversations drifted. She'd ask how I was really doing. I'd lie and say, fine. She'd tell me she was in therapy. I believed her. I believed she was trying to be better. And the worst part? I didn't doubt her sincerity. That made everything harder. There were moments I missed her so much it physically hurt. The way she used to sit with her legs tucked under her. The way she laughed at dumb shows. The way she knew when I needed space without me saying anything. Then, without warning, a memory would surface. Her smiling at a screen, whispering another man's name, and the love would curdle into something bitter. Trust doesn't come back just because someone says sorry enough times. I tried dating once. Just coffee. I spent the entire time emotionally distant, hyper-aware, waiting for the moment I'd be made a fool again. There was nothing wrong with her. The problem was me. I realized I was carrying this quiet paranoia everywhere. I hated that version of myself. My wife asked once if I thought reconciliation was possible. I told her I didn't know. That was the most honest answer I had. I wasn't punishing her. I was protecting what was left of me. I've spent a lot of nights replaying my own role in all of this, like a prosecutor who won't let a case die. Every moment I chose comfort over connection. Every night I put on a headset instead of having a conversation. Every time I assumed fine meant fine. It's easy to spiral into self-blame. Almost comforting, in a way. If it's my fault, then it makes sense. Chaos with a cause. But therapy forced me to sit with something uncomfortable. Responsibility isn't the same as blame. Yes, I checked out emotionally at times. Yes, I took the marriage for granted. Yes, I avoided hard conversations because I hated conflict. Those are real failures, and I live with them. But betrayal is still a decision. Repeated ones. Conscious ones. She chose secrecy. She chose intimacy outside the marriage. She chose to involve someone who knew exactly who I was. Holding both truths at once nearly broke my brain. I wanted a clean narrative, hero and villain. Instead, I got something messier and far more painful. I learned that accountability doesn't mean self-destruction. It means learning without erasing yourself. Some nights I still wonder, if I had been more present, would she have stayed faithful? Then I remember that plenty of unhappy people don't cheat. They talk. Or they leave. That thought doesn't absolve me. But it steadies me. Mark is the ghost that still shows up when I least expect it. I don't stalk him online. I don't look him up. But sometimes I hear his voice in my head, laughing, casual, familiar. And it messes me up how easily he fit into my life before tearing it apart. What hurts most isn't just that he betrayed me. It's that he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew my routines. My stress. My vulnerabilities. He listened while I vented about my marriage, then stepped into the cracks. I trusted him. In that modern, strange way where trust is built through shared time instead of shared space. Late nights. Inside jokes. Mutual support. Losing him felt like losing a limb I didn't realize I relied on. I sometimes wonder if he thinks about it. If he feels guilt, or if he's rewritten the story to make himself the misunderstood guy who fell in love. I'll never know. And maybe that's for the best. But there's a specific kind of damage that comes from being betrayed by two people at once. It warps your sense of reality. Makes you question your judgment. Makes you feel like the dumbest person in the room. That damage lingers. Resolution is a word people love. It implies closure. Neat endings. Lessons tied up with a bow. Real life doesn't work like that. My wife and I are still legally married. Still emotionally connected. Still standing on opposite sides of something neither of us knows how to cross. Some days I imagine reconciliation. A future where we rebuild slowly, painfully, honestly. Other days I imagine signing divorce papers and finally letting go of the constant tension. Both options scare me. Staying means living with a wound that might never fully heal. Leaving means accepting that the life I'd built is truly over. Love doesn't disappear. It mutates. It becomes grief. Nostalgia. Resentment. Hope. Sometimes all at once. I've stopped asking myself what the right choice is. I don't think there is one. There's just the choice I can survive. For now, we exist in this in-between space. It's not peace, but it's not war either. Maybe that's the best I can do. I think about how casually it all started. A console. A username. Nightly conversations that felt harmless until they weren't. If I could talk to my past self, I wouldn't say, "Don't trust." I'd say, "Pay attention." To the small changes. The emotional distance. The things that feel off but are easy to rationalize away. I'd also say this: loving someone doesn't mean ignoring yourself. I'm still carrying this. I probably always will. Some betrayals don't end, they just become part of who you are. I don't hate my wife. I don't forgive her either. Both truths exist. And that's something I'm learning to live with. If you're reading this and something in your life feels quietly wrong, don't dismiss it. Ask the uncomfortable questions. Protect your boundaries. And if you're the one feeling lonely, unseen, or tempted, talk first. Leave if you have to. But don't destroy someone who trusts you. I'm still rebuilding. Slowly. Carefully. One honest thought at a time. Thanks for listening.